Welcome to the Scot Ferrell Show. Thanks so much for joining me today. Great topic. You might want to take out a pen and paper for this one, especially if you're single or you're married and cheating on your spouse. You might want to look this one up. A little joke there. But today we were talking about, should you marry for love or for money? Or can you do both? It's a good question. I get that asked all the time. I had a young lady come up to me this past week. I already had a show planned. And she goes, please, please, please do this topic for me. Okay, no problem. So topic again is, should you, people, marry for love or for money, or can you do both? But before we get there, you got to talk about today's sponsor. We got Dirt Poor Coffee, wonderful people, wonderful food, best chicken salad I've ever had, and the sausage balls are amazing. And they do cheese straws. Now, if you're from the South, you get cheese straws at covered dish, dinners, church functions, homecomings, and weddings. And they actually make cheese straws every single day. So wonderful. If you like muffins, the blueberry's my favorite. Always going to be my favorite. That's my grandma's fault. But conversation's great. People are great. The friendliest people I've ever met. Before my wife and I moved to this area, we walked in the coffee shop. I always check the coffee shop before I go anywhere. And the coffee was great, and the people were nice. And I'm from the Atlanta area, and I just got back from a business trip this past week. Yeah, not everybody in Atlanta is heartfelt, warming, and loving, and wants to talk to you. It's always great to come back here, go to the coffee shop, and feel like I am home. No, we don't live in Summerville, but if you ever come to Summerville, nice town, nice folks, great place to relax on your trip. If you're going to Mentone, Alabama, a great coffee shop to hit before you get there. But, always give it a shot if you're close by Dirt Poor Coffee. You will not regret it. All right, let's get to the day's show. Now, if you have any questions for me, if you want to come to the mailbag, let's go ahead and get that done now. It's scotferrell.com is my website. It's 1T. Don't put 2. You're going to go to the hockey guy's website. That works for ESPN. And I've had more than one times where people cussed me out in coffee shops because they thought I was him instead of me. And I always go, listen to the voice and check the spelling. And then they always apologize and pay for my coffee. So next time I'm in a Starbucks somewhere in Atlanta, feel free to insult me and buy me a free coffee. If you think I do hockey, I do not. All right, so all our stuff's up on the screen. You can follow us on 7, 8 different platforms. Always like and subscribe. It always helps. Everybody says that. I know that's nothing new. But if you want to get in on the mailbag, it's show@scotferrell.com. Just send us a quick note. It can just be bits of words. Just give me what you want me to answer. I get a lot of that. I don't get long narratives sometimes. I get like sound bites, which is cool. That's fine. All right, so let's get to today's show, For Love or Money. Go ahead and throw that up there. Throw the first one up there for me. Great movie that came out years ago, 1993. Two of my favorite actors, Michael J. Fox and Gabrielle Anwar. And if you've ever seen Burn Notice, that is Fee. It's funny to look at that because I think Michael's 65 and Gabrielle is 62 now, about my age. But great movie. And it sums up, do you marry for love or for money? And I've seen this movie, I think my wife and I have watched it 30 times at least, because Michael J. Fox, granted he does play a similar character and everything, he's funny. And every movie he's in is funny, and you get to laugh for an hour, hour and a half. But this premise of this movie, boy, have we seen this played out many, many times in real life. All right, so I like to break things down. So when people ask me something, the teacher in me comes back out, because I was a high school teacher for almost 25 years, and anytime a kid had a question, I felt like we needed to research it. So kid asked me a question, I said, okay, let's do the scientific method. What's our hypothesis? Let's get our data, let's go through the steps, and let's see if what you just said makes the cut. And I was a Socratic method teacher, so I believe that everybody in the class, regardless of grades or whatever, should have input in what we're talking about, because you never know who's going to have the right answer, a different idea, a different way of looking at it, and you want everybody's ideas, and we write them on the board. And I'd get one of the girls who had good handwriting, not mine, to write stuff on the board for us, and we would break it down and go through it. I did the same thing for this. Now, I could give clinical answers. That's not what I want to do. I want to give, everyday logistics. My papers are going everywhere this morning. On what it is. So let's look at, the first thing we're going to handle. All right. I'm going to marry for money. That's the first thing I'm going to handle. So I've set out, I'm going to marry, and this is how I'm going to do it. Because a female asked me, I'm going to do it from a female perspective. Now, lay it out here. I've been offered these opportunities a few times too, not at this age. When I was young, I was kept for a while. This was pre-Jesus, pre-everything. Interesting lifestyle. I don't really recommend it. You lose your identity, and that's no fun. So good for a while. The money's great. All that's great, but I don't recommend it, and I'm getting ready to go through why I don't recommend it. Now, if I'm a female, and we see endless shows, it's like a friend of mine showed me a website, sugardaddy.com, and I think there's a sugar mama, but a sugardaddy.com. So it's girls looking for men with money, purely, like The Bachelor or some of these other shows, like Brett Michaels' show. Okay, he's a rich rock star. I want a part of that lifestyle, even though they don't realize what that lifestyle is really like. And it has interesting things that happen. Look at Housewives. Every housewife show, I didn't realize you didn't have to be a housewife to be on the show. And a lot of them, not all, like Candy Burrs, she's actually a real star. I used to listen to their music. She's a good businesswoman. But most of the women, I'm talking about here in the Atlanta area, have gone bankrupt. And on a lot of the shows. And I knew one of them. I'm not going to say which one, and I'm not going to say which show. A wonderful lady. She got off the show pretty fast, but she's a lovely woman. On the West Coast is all I'll say. But you look at it and you go, okay, are these people happy, content, in love, or is it just for show? Well, let's look at this. All right. What are the advantages? And I know people have written these down. I did. What would be the advantages of marrying someone just for money? And what's the biggest couple we think about now? Actually, there's two, probably. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. She's a billionaire. He's not. He acts like Peter Pan. To this day, being such a good businesswoman, I do not know why she picked him. I'm sure that'll unfold. We'll find out later. If that makes it past a year, I will be astonished. Completely. And Jeff Bezos and Lauren, his new wife. Definitely married for money. I don't get it, but I'm getting ready to go through why I don't get it. But here, all right, let's go through this. What are the advantages of marrying someone solely for money? And I saw a thing the other day. It was a guy that was 76, and he goes, for the first time in my life, I'm in love. And I think he was a billionaire somewhere in the world. He had on a, what do you call him, Speedo on his yacht. But the girl was 22. Yeah. And it's kind of like Anna Nicole. I'm in love. The dude can barely breathe. I guess so, right? So, but what do you get out of it? All right, let's break this down. Let me think of Lauren and Jeff. All right, you get to ride on a yacht anytime you want to. You fly private. If you know anything about the Atlanta airport, private is supreme, or JSX or one of those services, because any major airport in the United States it's like being sentenced to time. It's awful. Going to Atlanta airport because it's such craziness. It's like being in Beirut during a war. So flying private, wonderful. I'm in. I'm with you. All right, what else goes with that? Well, nice restaurants. The nicest restaurants in the world. And you don't even have to have a reservation. You just walk right in, because there's so much clout attached to the individual you're with. They're not going to say no, because they know how much money you spend. And last time I looked, restaurants are run from a capitalistic viewpoint. So you got to sell something to make money. So, hey, I ain't mad at you. And then you throw in my wife's favorite, jewelry of all kinds. Big, loud, beautiful, from anywhere in the world, from any shop in the world. Normally, just like my friends, they have a private jeweler. There's one in Atlanta. I'm not going to advertise for him, so I'm not going to use his name. But he's behind lead doors, I can't remember, or really steel doors, private shop, invitation only, heavy security. And then I have friends, I can mention their name, Terra Jewelers and Beaufort, Georgia, wonderful people. Eddie and Lisa, same thing. My wife likes them. They like my wife. So jewelry of all types, you get to be frosted, as they said, and how to lose a man in 10 days. And then we have furs. My wife's a fur connoisseur, and one of our closest friends is a furrier. Wonderful guy. And he's always calling her, and I try to hang up and go, don't talk to my wife. You're an expensive friend. Go away. But those things are nice. Then you add in the status. Paparazzi, which I would not do well in that situation. I don't want somebody taking my photo. I don't want to be followed. But now you're being followed just because you're with X, and you're on covers of magazines that you would have never been on. And I'm talking about super rich. I'm not just talking about. Let's qualify. So we'll qualify what we're talking about. 100 million or above in net worth, that's what we're talking about. If we want to be rich, let's go above 500 million. 100 million may be just comfortable. Well, you got to look at today's dollars and inflation. God, when I was a kid, $1 million seemed like, wow. But this ain't the 1960s anymore. So status. Everywhere you go, the door is open. Everywhere you visit, absolutely come in. Everything you do is excused now. So status is nice, man. It's really nice to go out and have that. Then you got the country clubs. Clubs is what I said, because you're just not a member of one. You're a member of exclusive clubs, not necessarily just a country club per se, because in the United States, when you say country club, what do people think? Golf. Golf and food, Caddyshack. That's what normally people think of. You know, like, oh, Judge Smells. You know, you've got the status, you've got the club, you've got the accoutrements that go with it. Then we have the shopping. Come on now, got to do some shopping. Retail therapy is good for the soul. So you get to go shopping anywhere you want. Now, I like custom stuff. You know, instead of spending $8,000 on a suit off the rack with glue in it, I'd rather go to a custom tailor and spend $3,000 to $4,000, and it's handmade and it's stitched for me. That's just me. But and then you get into the, you know, do I want an Hermes Birkin bag? Is it worth it? Do I go to the Louis store, Escada, you know, Cartier, Chanel? Where am I going? Am I doing it just to look good? Do I want people to see the bags, where I've been, a la the Kardashians? And then you have to get the Mercedes, the wagon, so to speak, the one, the Grinder. If you've never seen the show, The Grinder, you've got to watch it, with Rob Lowe. That one Mercedes that the Kardashians made fabulous and famous. Have you ever ridden in one? And that's the thing. I went by the dealership. I drive a Mercedes, yes I do. But I went in and got in one, and I was like, why are people buying? I mean, it's cool. It's got a decent ride, but it's not my deal. But it seems to be the car of choice. Or then you go get your Ferrari. I'm a muscle car guy. Or whatever the car is that you want, or the material object is. Because then you've got the house with the, let's say, 7 to 8 to 10 car garage. Because if you're a collector, my wife's uncle's a collector, and he's got a great collection of muscle cars. I get, man, that's where I grew up. But a lot of people have one for around town, you know, and where I'm from, you have the pickup from around town. Then you have the, what did everybody drive when I was a kid? The Buick. Man, you could get in those Buicks and you couldn't feel anything on the road. But then you've got to have that. Then you've got to have multiple homes in multiple parts of the world, and or yacht, depends where you want to be. Maybe one in Monaco, one in Singapore. Where's the place to be now? Hong Kong, Bangkok, Macau, right off Dana Point, wherever it is that you like to go. I'm listing places my friends go. And then you think, okay, I've got all that, and now I got connections. Because what do you do if you've got a rich husband? A lot of women like to have a business of some sort. Okay, what is it? Now, a lot of Hollywood starlets didn't need a man to do this. A lot of these ladies have done a good job making companies. I know Gwyneth Paltrow's done a pretty good job of building her company. But you've got the connections, you've got the people that will help you get in business for yourself, not like Meghan Markle, because that's a disaster and nobody likes her. But hopefully, if people like you and your husband's got enough clout, that's going to happen for you. And then you get to meet all kind of interesting people and stars and celebrities from all over the world. That's fun. And you go to cool parties with great food. And you're almost in a bubble, because once you get to a certain dollar level, you're in a bubble because you always have to have security. You can only go and do certain things. You give up one thing, freedom, to be part of this world. And you have to think long and hard. Which one do I want to be in? Do I want 24/7 bodyguards, or do I want to be able to go down to a local coffee shop and have coffee? Which, once you get in this world and you're photographed, you can't do anymore. Now, if I never had to go back to the grocery store again, I'm elated. If I never saw another Walmart, another Kroger, Albertsons, Tesco, I'm all good. But that's me. I can't stand to go to the grocery store or the mall. And I would just have my security go do it, I guess. I don't know. But the parties, and then after that, you get the best medical care in the world. Why? The best medical care in the world, a lot of times, nobody knows is available. There's a reason why everybody goes to Germany, Singapore, parts of China, Mexico, Finland, Switzerland, for procedures. Ask the Kardashians again. Where are they getting all their stuff done? I don't know, but as much as I dislike the mom, she looks absolutely amazing. Now, I don't know what she went through to get there, because it could not have been fun, and it would have been really painful, but that's it. So, and then you look and go, okay, I got all this. Oh, that's right. We want tickets to something. Let's go to a ball game. Let's go to the theater. Let's go to a show. Let's go to a concert. Not only do you get the tickets, you get to go back and meet the group. You meet the team. You come down on the field. If you marry right, your husband already owns the team. You get to do all those things. And a lot of guys, let's say the guy's my age, 60-ish, and the girl's in her 30s. Well, for the man, he gets lots and lots and lots of sex, the way he likes it. There's a trade-off there. Please don't tell me there's not, because there is. And he gets to do things he might not necessarily get to do with a woman his age. But that's the good side of this. So that's the good side of marrying just for money. And it's a good side. I can't disagree with any of the stuff. All right, let's look at the downside of just marrying for money with no love. No love at all. If you want to see that marriage, go watch the documentary they just did on Jackie Onassis and her marriage to Onassis. And you'll see what a marriage just for money really looks like. And I watched it last night, about an hour and a half. It's extremely sad and heartbreaking. I had no idea that woman went through that. Had no idea. I have a newfound respect for her and what she endured while she was here. All right, let's look at the cons of marrying just for money. These are drawbacks. All right, there's an emptiness. Because there's no foundation of love, it's empty. And if you're marrying a husband that's got quite a fortune, what's he doing most of the time? Traveling, working. He may be in another part of the planet than where you're from. And he may not be able to take you because he's got stuff to do. He's busy. You communicate via phone, whatever it is. But there's an emptiness. What do you do when you're sitting there at the dinner table? And because there's no connection from a love standpoint, and the superficial talk has disappeared. We've done the weather. We've done what you bought today. We've done where you've been. Now what do we talk about? What is it we're discussing right now at the table once we've done the superficial? And then you look and go, are we close? What's our bond? What's bonding us together? Is there an emptiness? Do I see emptiness in the chair in front of me and just go, what are we doing here? Yeah, she's really pretty and I like the sex. All right, what else I got here? What am I doing? I, in a previous life, got offers to do adult industry things. Not now. Now they would not look at me twice. And I had several girlfriends in the industry. Several. and one I deeply love. She's since passed. And they would tell me, they would come over on Sunday nights, and we would have dinner and watch movies. All the girls would come over to my girlfriend's place, and I'd be like, okay, what I got to know, what are your clients like? Clients pay for, this shocked me because these are marriages I'm talking about. Clients paid for conversation. I said, what? Yeah. Gal had me come over, we'll have dinner, tell me about his new business deals, drop his feelings, talk about what's hurting him, what's bothering him, his marriage, his kids, what's going on in his life. I get a hug and a kiss and I go, what? So men are just paying for companionship. Yes. They said between 95 and 99% of the time, they never touched the guy other than to kiss him goodnight or to hold him while he cried or poured his heart out. I really didn't know that. And I'm not talking about streetwalkers, guys. I'm talking about high-class girls who were professionals. And that's what they told me. These guys are trapped in marriages with no love and without prenups, and they don't want to lose everything they work for. And I thought, how sad. Which brings up my next two things, because I wrote down, it's hard enough to be in a marriage with love, but imagine no love, the loneliness. Because stuff can't give you warmth. Stuff can give you stuff can temporarily make you happy, but that endorphin rush wears off. Because now I'm lonely, I'm in a marriage, I got a big house, great cars, plenty of security, and I'm completely lonely. And then what we've seen on the Housewife show, right? So how many of these Housewife shows are there? Too many. But you notice what happens when they go through the struggle. Start losing money, start losing their fortune, make a bad business deal. What happens? Well, they get divorced. A couple of them went to prison, one guy got deported. Why? Well, you had no foundation. So since you didn't have a foundation and the only thing you had was money, there's really nothing to work on. There's nothing to put in because you didn't do the work up front. You just decided to match each other due to a superficial concept. And now you've opened your door for cheating, maybe one or both, because neither are happy, because this is a business arrangement. And is there a prenup? Now, anybody with any sense, I was listening to Taylor Swift's prenup. Wow. I want her legal team. They're amazing. I was listening to that. I don't normally watch trash TV, but it was quite interesting what was in the prenup. Naturally, it's going to get leaked, parts of it. And good luck, Travis. But you've got a prenup. It better be iron tight. So this is normally how this works. You marry someone for money. There's a prenup in place. However, for every year served, it's kind of like prison, isn't it? For every year served in a marriage, you get a dollar amount. So if you stay with me 20 years and then you get tired of my philandering and we get divorced, you get a check for. Okay. At least you know you'll be taken care of. And Jackie Kennedy had that clause in Onassis. I think she ended up with 25 million. And then that would probably be the equivalent of 75 to 100 now. So you've got that out of the way, but you never get rid of the nagging emptiness. Because what happens if you lose everything and the money just goes poof? Well, so does the marriage. Because you're in this just for money. Again, look at Housewives of Orange County, I believe, or Beverly Hills. I don't keep up, but 3 couples lost everything, went bankrupt, divorced, flat broke, didn't have anything to their name, and everything was taken away from them. But then you think, okay, what are you giving up? Well, you're being controlled. So if you're just in this for money, you've traded your freedom for $1. You're on an allowance, you get to do certain things, but what you do is controlled. There's really no freedom in that because that situation's going to control you. And then if you look and you think, okay, they had kids. Let's look at the average rich kid, and I mean rich, not middle class, rich kid, on how they act normally, either on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, or in public. I told people I'd rather teach in the hood than a rich school any day. Rich kids don't get any love. They don't love themselves. They don't have a lot of self-esteem, so they do a lot of stupid. Seen this played over and over and over, and it seems like in every movie, The Beekeeper, if you've seen it with Jason Statham. A rich kid getting in trouble, never been disciplined. See the thing here? Because both parents are out of control or not at home. You're raised by a nanny, hopefully that loves you. And you have no basis, no foundation, no faith, nothing. So what do you have to hold on to? Well, nothing. So does this sound like fun? Does it sound like you have any peace whatsoever, any joy in life, any love? Or is it just based on a bank account and the next thing that you can purchase? And boy, as a pastor, I've had those people sitting in front of me, and it's really, really sad. All right, now we spent time on marrying for money. Let's go marrying for love. How about that? A little dirt pour coffee here. Get my paper over here so I can see it. All right, let's look at this. Advantages. So we're going to do advantages of marrying for love this time, not money. All right, when you marry for love, there's a lot that comes with it, but there's a lot of great. So I'm going to look at the pros and cons. Pros, you end up marrying your best friend. If you marry for love, your wife, husband will be your best friend. That'll be the person you pour your heart out to, every problem you share, because they're your life partner. They're your business partner, they're your love partner, they're your parenting partner. Every single thing you do, they're your partner in whatever it is. Where with just money, you have nothing to do with the businesses. You're left out of those. You don't even know what's going on most of the time. You have a charge card, you go have fun, I'll meet you back home. Where with a real committed marriage with love, you're in every decision. You're together on everything because you have commitment, you have respect, and you have peace. Why? Why do you have peace? It's peaceful coming home to a home that's filled with love. You don't have to have a lot if you have love. Because most couples that marry for love, especially if you're young, they struggle. The struggle builds the foundation. It helps you stay together because, as I tell young couples as a pastor, love won't just get you through, commitment does. You got to have the commitment and the love. If you don't have the commitment, the love's not going to work. You've got to have commitment to go with it. So you've got to have that. All right, so vision. All right, so I've decided I'm going to marry this person. I love them. I can't live without them. Let's do this. Then we have a shared vision together that we bond together. We write it out. My wife and I have a whiteboard, so we write out the vision. We write out what that includes. We had a creed for our family that we keep on the wall at home. We do all these things. Why? Because it's very important. We have to stay focused on, while we're together, what we share, what our priorities are. See, because in just for money, are there priorities other than spending, earning, receiving, looking good, being in front of the paparazzi, buying stuff? Is there anything to it? So now we have to sit and go, okay, we've got our shared vision. Now we have goals. What are our goals? What are our goals for today? What are our goals for tomorrow? 40 years from now, we're still planning on being together because I married my best friend. Since we have those goals, what are we going to do? Spiritual, financial, social, kids. Where's our family line up? What are we doing? What's that look like? Extended family, where's that going? Because my wife and I just had to take care of my father-in-law, just passed, for about 3 years. We're his sole caregivers. So we had to stop our life, and we had to do his life, take care of him, do what he wanted, do what he needed, get past that. It's amazing how much road noise we can get sometimes. It's funny, we film in the center of town. And so everybody seems to want to be around me when I start filming, right? All right, so just ignore the background noise, please. All right, then you have fulfillment. You're fulfilled because every single day when you get up, you're with the person that you love the most in the world. And you see them and you hug and you kiss on them, and hopefully you do that. Because when you get out of bed, that's love time, man. You get up in the morning, you want some loving. You get that. And then let's get to the sex part. We get to have fantasy sex when we do the just for money because we're playing characters. I'm a character so I can receive. You're a character so you can receive. It's almost a business exchange. But then you have meaningful sex when you're with somebody you love, because the endorphin rush, the oxytocin, everything grows the longer you're together. So the more you touch each other over the evolution of the relationship, it builds. And that feeling you had the first time ends up just building throughout the relationship. And so now after 20, 30, 40 years, that feeling when your spouse walks in the door, it's just magnified. And I know if you've never had this happen, you don't understand, but trust me, it is real. Then you make the money together, all right? There's nothing better than building businesses with your spouse. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the hard work. You may have painted the whole place yourself, done all the work because you were flat broke and didn't have any money. You grow through that stuff. And in business, you got good and bad days, good and bad weeks, good and bad years. You can weather those things because you built that foundation together. And then when you have kids, keep in mind, should have solved this before, how do we handle our kids? How do we raise our kids? Well, now you're united. Our youngest realized that if one said it, then both said it, because he'd go, can I go? What'd your mother say? What'd your father say? So he never got away with playing the mom said, or because all she's going to do and go, what'd you tell him? She just turned and go, what'd you tell him? You know, it didn't work. So if you're always on the same page, you've got the foundation, the tough times come, but who cares, because you're going to weather them. And then you develop, and I've noticed this, you develop a deep appreciation for your spouse. It's hard to describe what you feel when you see them. Look at my case. My wife's had to be thrown up on by me because I was so sick and dying. I couldn't feed or toilet myself as a grown man. She had to feed me, cut my food up, button my shirt. She still does that for me to today. She helped me put this outfit on today. Things like that. If they're just there for money, they're out the door. I think of a Diary of a Mad Black Woman. After he threw his wife out, it was a Tyler Perry movie if you haven't seen it, he got with the girl he was cheating with, and they had kids together. And then he got shot in court, and she emptied the bank accounts and disappeared. And then the ex-wife took care of it. If you get a chance, watch the movie. It's a very interesting movie and a study on human behavior. It's great. Tyler knocked it out of the park on that one. And the Medea character is always funny. So that's like Mr. Brown, and all those characters are hilarious. But you appreciate what they've done because that bond grows on a daily basis, the good and the bad. You can't build a foundation without bad. Cannot. And I've seen my wife at her worst. She's seen me at my worst. She's still having to take care of me, which I greatly appreciate. I'm still going through physical therapy and brain therapy. Thank goodness that it's in the Atlanta area and I don't have to travel too far. But a lot of people would not stick around for that because on the money side, if you become too much of a headache, I'm just going to take off because I don't really care about you anyway. But over here, we're building a legacy together. We love each other. We're in this to win it. And we don't want to lose this. It's, what was it, Wedding Crashers, where Chaz takes him to a funeral to pick up girls. But at the funeral, this lady really loved her husband. And it's when it hit him, and then he goes and crashes Vince Vaughn's wedding, and you know what happens in the movie. But you got to see what happens when you lose someone you deeply, deeply, deeply love and respect. Then, on the bright side, you talk about legacy. What's your legacy? Respectful, productive kids who contribute to society. Normally, if you have a marriage full of love, which when I say love, it's respect at all times. You shower each other with love, respect. You listen to each other, and you display that to the kids. Yes, the kids need to see you slapping her on the butt. They've got to see that you love their mother and that she is wonderful. Our son used to go, please get a room, you two. But she's my wife. Why not? He needs to see a healthy relationship, what that looks like, us kissing on each other. But you have respectful kids, and then those kids, because they've seen the bad times and the good times, They can overcome anything because you taught them how to do it. They watched you do it successfully, and they watched you do it as a whole unit without unraveling the whole family because things got bad. And then, unlike money, you don't look in the eyes of the person and go, "You're my future." You look at their wallet and go, "Well, that's my future." Where when you're in love, you look in those eyes and you know that's your future. That I'm not going anywhere. This is me. This is where God put me, because we're going to share life, dreams, and the bond that we have is going to be unbreakable. I know I look kind of like it today. I'm wearing a hat, but I've never seen the show Yellowstone. I know. Please don't write me. I just figured out what eBay was in 2022. I was sick, guys. I missed I missed about 10 years of technology. I don't know how to use apps. Nothing. People have to help me. But I noticed they have a spin-off show. Taylor Sheridan's the man. To where the character Beth would be impossible to be married to. I love her and everything else. She's such a great actress. And the guy that plays Rip, I believe is his name. That bond, that's a good show of, boy, you have to love each other to go through what they have, but that is a lovable bond. And the thing is, our country, every country that wants to survive, depends on the family. That's why the Democrats are trying to get rid of the nuclear family, because that's what holds a country together in belief in Christ. That's simple. Now, that's the pros. That's the pros of being married to someone you love. Let's go to the cons. At first, I didn't have any. Here's why. Are there really any cons? If you marry your best friend, your business partner, your confidant, the person you want to see first thing in the morning, and the person you want to see at night, are there really any cons? And you married the one that God told you to marry. Now, I've seen too many relationships where it looks like Satan arranged the marriage, and you would swear the girl flies in on the broom for groceries. But that's not what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about good marriages to where you specifically knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that this was who you had to marry. Well, let's look at this. All right, let's say you got married young, which my generation, most people did, between the age of 18 and 25. You go to college, meet your wife, get married. I had two friends. They just celebrated their 42nd year in business together as a married couple. And they got married. I had three groups of friends that got married right out of high school. Still happily married, grandkids, love each other, loved each other in high school. We knew they were getting married. They were the people that we just knew. And it's never a shock because they really loved each other. Golly, I think one group, I think they go back to when we were 12. We're in our 60s now. That's commitment, that's deep. And they did struggle. Nobody's got a whole lot of money coming out, but the struggle builds character. You know, there's nothing like taking sheets that you got at Goodwill and putting them on the windows because you don't have any blinds, or you get an old mattress and put it on the floor. Our big thing was milk crates back when we were kids. Everybody in college had a milk crate stereo system, furniture was milk crates. Or you put lounge chairs from Walmart in your living room. Hey, they work, man. I did it. Or you find furniture, done this too, you find furniture on the side of the road and throw it in the back of your car. Done that. I used to be the guy that would go by, okay, I'm telling myself, but it's got nothing to do with marriage, but okay, yeah, it does. I was the guy in the 80s that would go by a cemetery and pick up flowers to take to my date. Yeah, that's pathetic, but I did it. And then I was so broke, I would go to the mall and go up to the counter where they had the samples, spray cologne on to go pick up my date as I went by the funeral home. I was that guy. All right, that's what you do when you don't have any money. You improvise. But, so what? You married your best friend. Now you got the long hours at work because we got to pay our dues. I remember the 100 hours a week. I've done those weeks. But I was young enough to be able to do it. And then you sacrifice. You sacrifice for the person you love because you love them, whether it's food, time, money, stuff, clothing. Maybe the kids need clothes and you can only afford clothes for the kids or you. It's going to be the kids. Sometimes you don't eat so the kids can eat. You just do those sacrificial things because it's your family. Or you go, I got this much month and I got no money, right? You got too much month and no money. It happens. It's part of it. Good grief. When I got sick, we looked in our pantry one night as I stumbled into the kitchen. She had to hold me up. And we had one thing of ramen noodles in our pantry. One thing of ramen noodles. That's all we had to eat. And I just lost my radio show, my TV show. We'd lost everything. We had a lake house. We had to move to a small apartment. She worked for me. And when the money dried up, she worked for me, so she had to go get an external job. And then somebody came and filled our refrigerator up, our pantry up. Somebody gave us meat for another 2 years to help me get through my illness. Well, what happens if we don't love each other? The bond we already had, we were in. It was just a matter of, okay, we have a problem. We have no way to solve it. God's going to have to do it. And then God did save it. Now, let's look at the real cons I see in this. You lose your spouse. I ain't talking about divorce. I'm talking about death. What do you do? And I've had several friends this year go through this because we're at that age, and some of them married older men, and I mean older men. What do you do when you lose your best friend to death? Now, I get this question a lot. What do I do with grief? How do I handle it? Does time heal all wounds? And the answer is no. What do I do? Because the con of marrying someone you deeply love and don't want to live without, that is your best friend. What do you do when he or she's no longer there? See, that's the con. When you marry someone for money, do you really care if they're subtracted from the equation? There's countless movies about this. What's Knives Out? One of my favorite movies, the first one. Daniel Craig is phenomenal. The whole cast is great. Don Johnson cracks me up the whole movie. If you have not seen Knives Out, you got to watch it. The first one. The first one is so funny. But the knives come out when it's just about money. You may be fighting with stepkids. You may be fighting with family, ex-wife, mom, dad. You've got all these people looking for a litigious way to get a dollar. Where if it's just love, your entire world just got subtracted from you. And I've done those funerals as a pastor. I've attended those funerals. I watched one of my good friends go through this. Watched another good friend go through it. Thank goodness she's now found the second best friend. It's difficult because you don't say anything. You just hug them, kiss them, tell them you love them. Now's not the time to go, Remember when my mom died and I had an administrator come up to me when I was teaching and go, we know worse things happen to other people. That was her way of soothing my mom dying. Well, worse things happen to people. All right, don't say that at a funeral, please, when somebody loses someone. But that's the con. That's the disadvantage. When your best friend is subtracted from you, or you've sat with John Wick, if you see the one scene where John was in the hospital, who played his wife? Moynihan. Bridget Moynihan was his wife. And Keanu's sitting there holding her hand as she dies. And then 4 movies through, he's still thinking about her. Why? Because that was his best friend, that was his partner, that was the person he wanted to die with. And it is true, once couples, if you can look at the statistics online, they're freely out there now. If one, let's say they've been married 50, 60, 70 years. If one dies, the other one will. I did a survey one time, I went through all these things because in college, I had a behavior class where we had to look at mortality rates. It was an independent study class. It was really cool. A lady named Dr. Reinholtz, who I love and adore to this day, was my behavior teacher. And so we were looking at, all right, will this person's heart break, can it be fatal if this person dies? Yeah. We saw several cases, and this was, you got to think when I was in college, a while back, over 30 years ago. And it's probably just as prevalent now. I haven't looked it up in a while, but for us to look at that in college, it was very impactful because we wanted to see the behavioral change, behavioral study of this, and how it impacted programming. And the day-to-day, the what you would do. There's one guy that's always posting on Facebook. He goes to lunch every day, takes his wife's photo. She passed a few years ago, so he can have lunch with her. Every single day, he puts her photo. I think he goes to Applebee's. and the Applebee's, they know him, and they take care of the photo, and he sits and talks to it. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to lose your best friend and the person that you had already committed to build your life with. It's always great when you're doing something, somebody sends you a a text on your phone and distracts you. Stop texting me. All right, so that's pros and the cons. Now, let me ask you this. This is what I would do in my old classroom. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to only marry for love, or do you want to marry for money? Which one? Now, you can do both. I had somebody tell me one time, it's just as easy to marry a rich man as it is a broke man. True. I like to give it to God. I always tell people, if you want to get married, write out 100 characteristics that are non-negotiable, that your next spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend has to have. If they're missing one, deal's off. If you do that, you can marry for love and money. Because a rich person could walk in the door with all 100. You meet his list or her list. Boom. That's how I do it. I never consider money. Men, I was watching one of those sleazy shows that they have on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, where three girls around a microphone dissing men. And you see how they see the world, and you see what's really true. And they don't think it's possible to marry for love and money, just money. And they think all men are scum. Well, that's everything to do with their programming. But let's say you have healthy programming. Yeah, you can have both. But it's a whole lot more fun when you build it together. Now, it's difficult when you lose it. We've been there. But I was sick. What else were we going to do? My wife sold everything she owned just to keep me alive. I promised her, as we get older, I'll get it all back for her somehow, some way. Because that bond's there. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully you can go, okay. He's made a case. I think I'm still going to marry for money, but at least I know the pros and cons. Or I think I'm just going for love because I know the pros and cons. But at least you got a conversation starter. Because I see a lot of girls, especially when you go to Vegas. And we used to go to Vegas all the time for business. I don't gamble. It's funny, I don't gamble. I don't chase women. I'm boring. I don't drink. I go do business and come home, basically. I stay at the same hotel every time I go. My friends are out there. My agent's out there. I go and do things with all my friends. My agent, my buddy Randy, that's been on the show, that does all the stuff he does for police officers, Wounded Blue. And then I come home. So I'm not the typical guy, but I see girls out there trying to get that money, man. And they just think that is the pinnacle of existence, and that's going to make them happy. Probably not going to happen. All right. I noticed that we're starting to wind up, so I got to get to the mailbag. I wrote it down. Here's what happens when you leave the house and forget your stuff. I know nobody's ever done that, right? Nobody's ever left the house and forgot their stuff. If you want to send in some questions, it's show@scotferrell.com. Remember, Scott is 1 T, please. Don't put 2 in there. Also, if you go to any of the social media outlets that we're on, please like and subscribe. It always helps get us up in the ratings, baby. All right, question number 1. How do I feel, or how do I see the term happy wife, happy life? How come it's never happy husband? It's kind of like on Father's Day. There's no big deal. Nobody does anything spectacular for dads. Nobody goes out of their way to make a dad happy. And then if you go out to lunch, dad's got to pay for it anyway. They only care if mom. Now, at church, man, did they make a big deal out of Mother's Day, flowers, and you got to take mom out, and mom's everything. And mom says, well, how about Papa? We don't give papas enough love. Now, it is true. Here's why happy wife, happy life actually works. Who takes care of the home? Who takes care of the kids? Who runs that domain? Normally, we say those things when it comes to the home. Women are the nesters, not men. Most men can sleep under a bridge. I'm one of them. Somebody put the ideal man's house. It was a garage with a cool car. It was a muscle car, a refrigerator, a TV, a couch, and a little oven and a bed. Yeah, Yeah. I would say out of me and my buddies, now not everybody, but out of me and my buddies, okay, I'm good. I can watch sports. I can go to sleep. I can give me something to eat. Normally it's going to be DoorDash anyway because a lot of men don't cook. I got a couch to sit on with me and my friends when they come over and watch the ball game. Yeah, we're all good. We don't need the other stuff. But mama's domain is home because she makes, you can have a house or you can have a home. If you got a wife, the wife's going to make it a home. It's going to make it peaceful, loving. You walk in and you feel at ease. You walk in and feel peace. That's why that component is because I have to keep my wife happy at home. What's that really mean? She gets to decorate. She gets to make it. My wife's OCD. And so everything has to be in its place. If it's not in its place, she ain't happy. So I stay out of the way. And I've noticed that if I just let her go, do her thing, it's peaceful. It's comfortable. It's way more comfortable when I make it. It's always nicer. It's always prettier. I still want to know why we have to have 55 pillows on the bed, and then we take them off, and then we have to put them back on and take them off. But, again, trivial things that men complain about. But it is true, happy wife, happy life. If you're married to a non-narcissistic woman, it is true. She's going to make it a home, so you just let her, man. They're nesters. Just get out of the way. All right, next question. Okay. What do I do? I'm not using names today. What do I do if my wife only drops hints and never, ever, ever says what she really wants? You throw a bucket of water on her and see if she melts like the witch from Wizard of Oz. No. You have to sit her down and talk to her. Ladies, listen, everybody, ladies listening, we over-communicate at work. We over-communicate at restaurants. We over-communicate when we go to get gas. We over-communicate when we go to the salon to get our hair done. But then all of a sudden, when we get around our boyfriend or husband, we think he should read our minds. Well, can your post office guy read your mind? Can the mechanic read your mind? Can your boss read your mind? Can your stylist read your mind? Can the girl at the clothing store read your mind? No. Then why do you think your husband has clairvoyant talents? He's going to get out his crystal ball and just pull it up. Ooh, I see that my wife wants X. Tell you what, let me make it easier. Hey, on Friday at 5 p.m., we're going to go. I need you ready. Okay. Instead of, hey, this surely would be nice. Hey, there's something going on at the da-da-da-da-da. Or, hey, man, hey, I really need it. And it's always a hint. Watch Modern Family. She was always hinting. She never tells Ed O'Neill what she wants. And it's funny because the background story of that is during read-throughs, he'll take Sophia to the side because she doesn't understand all the American humor. And Ed will rehearse the humor with her because she doesn't get it. So Ed O'Neill's a really cool guy if you ever get to meet him. But stop dropping hints and drop, hey, this is what I want to do. If it's something you want him to wear, hey, I want you to wear that outfit on Sunday. Okay. I want you to go do the following 2 things. Got it. Instead of you leave something on the counter and expect him to go, well, that being on the counter means I need to go do X. We're not even going to see what's on the counter. We're not women. Men are not women. We don't communicate the same way. Men don't drop hints. We just go, hey, honey, could you do the following? I don't wait on my wife to read my mind. She's not going to anyway, so that would be a fruitless exercise. So why do it? All right, so stop doing it. Let me get to the next one. All right. Is it bad? I like this one because we had recently had to buy a gift. Is it bad that I don't want to buy traditional gifts for weddings and anniversaries? Well, most men don't know what traditional gifts are. You ask a man what his buddies want for something they want, tickets to a ball game, go hunting, new shotgun, tickets to the race, something in that genre. That's how we think. Like the other day, somebody asked me, what do you want for your birthday or Christmas? Socks and underwear. No, really. No, that's my grandma started this party, so you're going to have to join it. That's all I want. I can go buy anything else I want. I don't know why it is. Men get crippled when they have to go buy socks and underwear. We feel like my grandma or my wife or my mother has to buy it for me. But traditional gifts for weddings and anniversaries. I don't like traditional. You look at me. Do I look like I do anything traditionally? I like unusual. So for people's birthdays and for Christmas and for anniversaries and wedding presents, I get distinctive, unique gifts that are one of a kind that mean something, period. Because I got my friends Patty and Todd gave me one of the best gifts I've ever received. They gave me a globe. And I keep that globe. I used to have it behind me when I filmed. I just didn't want to drop it because I might run into it, and if I break it, I'm just going to lose it. So it stays with me. It's at home. And I look at it every day, and that globe means that someone loved me. It's so unique, and they gave it to me in a really difficult time, and I treasure that one thing. And then I had a friend named Teresa from high school. Teresa cross-stitched something for me in high school. We were 16, 17 years old. I still have it. I'm in my 60s. Why? It was so unique, and if you've ever cross-stitched, I know how much time it takes. My grandma taught me how to cross-stitch, crochet, and sew when I was a little boy. I've been in every fabric shop, I think, in the state of North Carolina. So I knew how to do it all. And I knew how much time it took to get everything done, what was going on, what was happening. So I really respected somebody cross-stitching me something. So I'm not real big on traditional stuff. You get something that applies to the person. You get something that when they look at it, they go, wow, I'm loved. They really know me. Let me think what I got. I got a Batman thing. I got a Batman light one time. It's the spotlight that Batman uses for Commissioner Gordon. That's one of the gifts I cherish the most. I got the Braveheart sword. Somebody gave me that. That's cool. There's only a few of those out there. I've got one of them. Just stuff like that. Coach Barnes from University of Tennessee gave something. I remember, I think one of my cherished things is Richard Petty gave me a hat. This was 45 years ago. Gave me a hat that he was discontinuing. And he signed it, and he said, one of these days, this might be worth some money. Now, I would never sell it because, I hold Richard's the king to me. So, but that traditional is overrated. All right, that's the mailbag. Let's go ahead and wind this up. All right, ScotFerrell.com is how you reach me. If you have any problems, I do have a consulting company. We handle individuals and companies up to $50 million. We don't like to go above that, but we solve problems, period. You got a problem, we'll find a solution. Thanks for joining me today. Look at all of our platforms. If you have any mailbag questions, it's show@scotferrell.com. And tell you what, have a great week. Tell people how much you love them, and I'll see you next time. Take care.